I'm going to go over the top 5 questions that are asked in interviews, and then I'm going to tell you how to answer them using the STAR method. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The 5 top questions and the STAR method. You're in this interview and they ask a question that you are completely unprepared for. Happens to the best of us. Normally, those questions start with, tell me about a time when, and then your heart starts racing, your palms start sweating, your brain goes completely blank because you're like, I don't remember a time when that's ever happened to me at all. I have learned a secret formula that you can use in these interviews that will get you to the right answer every time, and it will stop you from babbling. Not that you babble. I don't babble in interviews at all. S is situation. This is where you briefly describe the project and the context of the situation. The key phrase with all of these is briefly. Just give an overview. Okay. T stands for task, and this is where you're going to be talking about your role and responsibility. I know that T for task doesn't really jive with role and responsibility, but that's the way it is. So just accept it and move on. A is for action. This is where you're highlighting the key actions that you took to address the situation. This is the important part of the question because this is where you're going to showcase your skills and show how amazingly brilliant you are. This is where you actually highlight your thought process of how you got to the conclusion that you reached. Now, R is the result. The STAR method says that you should talk about the positive outcome that you reached, but sometimes I think that it's nice to talk about negative outcomes as well. This is what I learned from this situation. So you talk about how you resolve the issue essentially for this result phase in STAR. Did you improve communications? Did you make $1,000,000? What happened as a result? So again, now we're going to talk about these 5 top questions, and I'm going to go through the STAR method on how you should answer them or how you could answer them, just to give you some examples. The number one question that I have been asked and that I've actually asked in meetings is, tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder. So just telling you, they don't wanna hear that, "Oh my god, I was talking to Bob, and Bob is awful, and he is horrible, and oh my god, everybody hates him, and he's just the worst." That's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is they wanna see your communication skills, they wanna see your negotiation skills, and they wanna see that you actually achieved a win-win situation. At Acme Inc., I was working on a project to implement a new widget system. The VP of widgets, a key stakeholder, expressed strong concerns about the widget color. My role was to understand their perspective and find a solution that addressed their needs but didn't compromise the overall success of the project. I actively listened to their concerns and asked clarifying questions. I then explained the rationale behind the project decisions and presented data to support the chosen approach. That's important. Present that data. Through open communication and collaboration, we were able to reach a mutually agreeable solution that she felt comfortable with. This ensured her continued support for the project. And there you go. There's your first star, right? Very simple, very, very easy, very pointed, and you're not going to babble with this. Well, you shouldn't babble with this. This is the number 2 question that I get asked. Describe a situation where you had to break down technical and complex information to someone who is not so technical. What the interviewer is looking for when they ask this question is to see what your communication and your analytical skills are like. So, S for situation. During a role at Acme Incorporated, I had to present the findings of a complex data analysis to a group of executives that were unfamiliar with the technical details. Done. T. My task was to ensure they understood the insights and the implications that this data had to the business. Done. I created a clear and concise presentation using visuals like charts and graphs. I replaced technical jargon with plain language and used relatable analogies so that they can understand what I was talking about. I also encouraged questions, provided handouts, and extra detailed information along the presentation. As a result, the executives expressed a clear understanding of what I presented and the impact that it had on the business. They were able to make an informed decision based upon the insights that were presented. Done. I answered the question very simply, very easily. All right, let's move on to the third question that's really common to ask during interviews. Can you give an example of a time when you identified a gap in the requirements and what did you do? How did you handle it? What the interview is looking for in this situation is your attention to detail, your problem solving skills, and your initiative. So, again, we're going to use the STAR methodology: situation, task, action, result. Let's start with situation. While conducting interviews for the development of a new mobile app that I was working on, I noticed a recurring theme that end users wanted a widget organizer, and that was something that wasn't in the original requirements. I recognized this as a potential gap that could drastically affect the user experience. I documented my findings, did some analysis, and then I presented these findings to the stakeholders. I explained the potential benefits of incorporating this functionality and conducted additional research to support its value. Based upon my analysis, the stakeholders agreed that we should add this functionality, and so the project scope was then increased, but with everyone's approval. And there you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? All right, here's another one, y'all. Oh my gosh. Walk me through a time when you had to prioritize competing requirements. What the interviewers are looking for are obviously your prioritization skills, which are huge because they're huge, your analytical thinking, and your ability to consider stakeholder input. Here's how you might answer that question. On a recent project for Acme Incorporated, we faced several conflicting requirements from different stakeholder groups. For example, the marketing team was very interested in the look and feel and the usability, whereas the technical team was more interested in the technical efficiency. My role was obviously to help everybody prioritize these effectively, but I did so by not utilizing my gut, and I actually went and utilized data. I facilitated a discussion with the stakeholders to understand the rationale behind each of their requests. We then collaboratively worked together to prioritize these tasks based upon what we had discussed. Through this collaborative approach, we were able to prioritize the requirements effectively. The project delivered the most valuable features while addressing the critical needs for all of the stakeholders. This ensured a successful outcome that met everyone's expectations. Question number 5. Number 5 is alive. All right. Wow. A little bit too much coffee, maybe. Hey, if you're digging my content this far, please, please, please click on that subscribe button down there and also click on the little bell so that you can be alerted whenever I post new content. Thanks. All right, let's get back to it. Question number 5. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies? So, what they're looking for here is that you're actually passionate about your job and that you're also committed to lifelong learning. So, here's how you might answer that question. As you know, our field is constantly emerging and changing with new technologies and methodologies all the time. To stay relevant, I actively seek out opportunities to learn and grow. I regularly read industry publications like Publication A, and I take online courses through companies like LinkedIn. I'm also actively developing my skills in artificial intelligence because I think that that is the way of the future, and that's where we're all going. For example, I'm currently taking a course in something related to AI to enhance my understanding of some technical term. I am also a member of this guild or this professional organization because it also helps me stay on top. As a result, I think it's really important to stay up to date with technology and trends because that's just going to make me better at my job and understand the future of where things are going so I can keep that in mind as we do development. It's going to allow me to deliver better solutions and contribute to my team and my company's success. So remember, these are just all examples of how to answer these questions using the STAR methodology. I kind of wanted to give you an example of what the cadence would be. And I also wanted to tell you what interviewers were actually looking for when they ask you those questions so that you know how to answer them. Stay tuned. I've got a whole bunch of videos that are going to be coming up on this interview hack process. I hope you enjoy them. But for now, that's all I got for you. So Lazy BA out.